Dear Texas Radio is sponsored by these companies.
Dear Texas would like to invite you to the McKinney Square Book Festival on June 3rd, 2017. The event will be held at the Performing Arts Center from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Meet 40-plus Texas authors, many of whom have won awards. Special events will take place during the day, and a special musical guest, Billy Dawson, will perform at 2 p.m. For more information, please visit our website, mckinney.deartexas.info. Welcome to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your hostess for today's show is Denise Bryson.
Welcome, everyone, to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage everyone to drop everything and read. And we are hosting today. I'm so glad to be hosting today, and I am here with Kathryn Lane, who is a mystery writer, and she has a wonderful character that we all are excited to hear about, Miss Nikki Garcia. And so we're just happy for you to be on the show today, Kathryn. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you, Denise. It's my pleasure to be on the show. Well, I'm originally from Mexico, and I, of course, am a U.S. citizen and have been in this country for quite a number of years now, but my Mexican heritage goes with me everywhere, including where I write and what I write about. And Nikki Garcia, that you mentioned, the protagonist of my novel, Waking Up in Medellin, is just that. She was born in Mexico and then moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and is working for a multinational corporation, and then is sent to Medellin, Colombia, on assignment, and she finds a whole lot more than she ever expected. So that tells you a little bit about my protagonist. I guess the question was really about me.
Well, no, that's fine. I can't wait to hear more about Nikki, but let's just tell us a little bit about yourself and your passion for writing.
Well, my passion for writing is interesting because I started life out as a painter. I started painting at age 6, and by the time I graduated from college, and I came to the U.S. for that, to complete college, and I was a starving artist. So I was divorced. I had a young son. I needed to earn a living, so I went into an MBA program and then got a job eventually with a multinational corporation. And I am a CPA and a certified management accountant as well. And I worked for Johnson & Johnson. It was a great company to work for. I traveled to 92 countries during the period that I was working for them, which has given me a lot of information to write about. And when I decided to take an early retirement, I wanted to get back into the arts. But I didn't want to go back into painting. It seemed like after 92 countries, I just had so many stories that I could write about, and so many characters and so many situations and locations. And I decided to write instead of paint, and I am just having the time of my life. It's something I really have to do. I just get up in the mornings, and I'm just so anxious to start writing.
Oh, wow, that is so awesome. It's so funny because I'm an accountant too. I was an accountant. I think I'm in a transition myself in careers, and so when I saw that, I said, well, we have some similarities as far as career choices was concerned. And then just to have a passion for writing. And I always get tickled about that because I think of that person right there as being a left and a right brain person. They're just not a left brain person. Most accountants are kind of left brain, but when you have the arts in there, you have to be both. What do you think about that?
I completely agree with you, Denise. And I think when you are whole-brained, you approach different things in different ways, because even the most mundane problem can be solved creatively because you've got that right brain that kicks in when you need it. Then, of course, when you're writing, it also helps to have that left brain so that it kicks in when you need to be out there selling books or talking to people.
Yes,
so I think it serves us very well.
That is awesome. So let's dive into this character in this novel, because you have a sequel coming to it. Is that correct? A part of the anthology that you're writing, and so can you tell us a little bit about Nikki Garcia and what she's doing and all of that? So I'm telling you, if you want to have a good mystery novel, this is one you want to pick up.
Well, thank you, Denise. Well, she transitions in the second novel from being a fraud auditor and amateur detective into a full-fledged detective for the second novel. And wow. She also goes to work in a investigative firm in Miami, Florida, but it gets called into Mexico to solve a human trafficking case. And I won't tell you any more because I want people to buy the book, but exactly. It is a thriller too.
Exactly.
And
then,
it will be.
Go ahead.
It will be coming out later this year. I'm not sure yet. The manuscript, in fact, I completed the manuscript today, and I'll be sending it off to my publisher after I have a couple more people look at it just to make sure we get some of the kinks and misspelled words and everything else out of it. So I'll be sending it about March 25th to my publishers, and then they'll send it off to be edited, and it will be out sometime after that. It could be out as early as August and or September, October, in that time frame.
Now, you said something just a few minutes ago when you said you're going to send it to the publisher and you're going to, but you got to want to check on the kinks and some of those things. Could you speak to that just for a minute for that person that is scared to start writing a book because they feel like they don't have the grammatical knowledge to be able to write? But, so to take the fear out of it, you don't have to worry about that because you do have people that can edit it and get to the misspelled words for you and get to the grammar errors that may come up as you're writing. Could you speak to that just a bit?
Yes, absolutely, because it is a very important part, and you're absolutely right, Denise. There are a lot of creative people that don't spell very well, and maybe sentence structure doesn't come naturally, but they are very creative, have great ideas and great stories, and they can produce phenomenal novels and short stories. And you have a thing called beta readers. Those people can be your friends and your relatives and people who like literature, and they can read and start giving you suggestions for how to improve it. Of course, spell check is your very first friend, okay, on the computer. But your friends and relatives, and then you can also pay a beta reader. And for those people looking to pay someone, it shouldn't cost more than somewhere between about $130 to at most $200, just to have a high-level overview. This isn't an edit job. It's just a high-level pointing things out and pointing out some basic mistakes. Then, of course, if people are looking to self-publish, there are a lot of very good editors out there that you can hire. They are more expensive, of course, but it is well worthwhile to have someone go over the novel very well if you're going to self-publish. If you have a publisher, then the final step after you've got it in as good a form as you feel you can get it, then they do send it off. They either have in-house editors or they have people under contract work. And by the time it hits the market, you're still going to have a few errors because it's almost impossible to bring a book out that is totally free of errors. So you just chalk it up that, okay, next book or next edition will have all the corrections. And I would encourage anyone to write, whether they know sentence structure or grammar or in spelling. If they have that creative juice, man, they can come up with really good stuff.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, because so many people fear that. And they think, well, I can't do it. I could never do it, but you can do it. And so what else? Tell us something about your short stories as well, because you do short story and poetry. I saw that you do both.
Yes, I do a little bit of poetry because I love poetry, and I think it improves the writing process tremendously. Because in a poem, you have to be very focused about the words you're using to get the meaning that you want to get across. So it really improves your overall writing. And poetry is so beautiful. It's so immediate. It's so right there. And then short stories, of course, are like a photograph, whereas a novel is more like a feature-length film. And short stories, you don't have the ability to develop characters much. Plot, of course, is very thin because you just don't have the room to expand on either one of those. But short stories can be fabulous, and they are slices of life usually, and they can just be fascinating to read and fascinating to write.
Mhm. Now, what is the usual length of a short story? Usually, some people don't know the difference of what to do. How did you determine how short it? How much of a short story you would write?
Usually, short stories are 7,500 words or less, and then you get into the novella length, which goes up to about 50,000, and after that, it's you get into a novelette as well. And they can be between about 40 to 50,000 words. And after you're, above 50,000 words, you're usually into a novel. And, of course, novels are getting shorter these days. People don't read the great big, they don't read War and Peace and all of those 1,000-plus page books anymore. We're too fast-paced, and we don't have the patience or the time.
Yes, that is so true. Things are moving so fast, and people just don't want to really sit down and take the time. When you used to sit down and take the time to watch a movie, and you would be so excited about it. So we have a couple of minutes, and then we're going to commercial. And so, what else would you like to say to your new readers and to your readers that you already have, real quick, just to see what would you like to tell them?
Yes, I have an anthology of my short stories coming out, probably late March, maybe April, and it's going to be called Backyard Volcano. The anchor story is about a volcano, but it's got everything from ghost stories to love stories to volcanoes. It has 8 short stories in it. The volcano story is a novella. It's about 30,000 words, so it's a little bit longer. But it's a great book, and it's more along the literary lines than my mysteries are. Okay. And where can you buy your books? Well, you can always get them on Amazon, and you can get them from my publishers. The anthology, Backyard Volcano, as I said, won't be out yet, so until it's out let me just be safe and say late April. Then you can get it from Alamo Bay Press in Austin, or you can get it from Amazon. My Nikki Garcia thriller series, you can get through Amazon. I'm not on bookshelves at Barnes & Noble, but you can get me by ordering me there. The reason is that I'm a brand new author. So brand new authors don't get much shelf space. And you can also buy it on TexasAuthors.com as well, right? That is correct, and you've got my books. You have some copies of my books. Yes, absolutely, and I will always make sure that you've got the copies that you need. Well, we have. Okay, so we have a couple more minutes left before we go to commercial. So and now I want to go back to the volcano story. When were those books? You might have said it, and I might have missed it because I was trying to do two things. I was multitasking. When will that be out, or is that already out? That will be out. Let me just be safe. I think it's going to be out about late April, and it will be available on Amazon. It'll be available in paperback, and then about a month or so later, it'll be out in Kindle. Alamo Bay Press usually does the paperback first for anywhere from a month to a couple of months, and then they put the Kindle version out there. And that is a book that I'm really excited about because short stories are difficult to get published. You can get published in anthologies, as I had been previously published. A couple of these stories had already been published in other anthologies. But Backyard Volcano, the anchor story, and most of them, only 2 of them that appear in that book had been published previously. but the others are brand new stories, and I'm just very excited, particularly about Backyard Volcano. In fact, my husband thinks that that's the best thing I've written is Backyard Volcano.
And what made you write that story?
You know, all
your
authors
inspiration?
use little kernels of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that story started out with a little kernel of truth, and I expanded it into a story. And that's what's fascinating about being an author, is if you take a little kernel of truth from real life, and then with your imagination, you can create the most incredible stories, the most incredible novels, and even the most incredible poetry.
Well, we're going to go to commercial right now and take our commercial break and hear a wonderful, wonderful word from our sponsors. We'll be right back on
Sounds good.
Dear Texas Radio.
Heaven Held, an angelic account of children in transition. This is a book by Suzanne Jean Courtney. Heaven Held explains what happens when a child dies. Heaven Held is a dialogue between the author and her departed son, who is a light being guide. It's available online at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and books.txauthors.com. Heaven Held reassures bereaved parents about the vastness and depth of God's love for their children.
Attention authors or those wanting to be an author. The Hill Country Writing Symposium is a place to learn how to be a better writer and to learn more about the publishing world. Join us in picturesque Wimberley, Texas on March 16th through the 18th for a fun time sharing ideas and concepts. It's a perfect event for new and experienced writers. To learn more, go to our website, writing.texasauthors.institute, or email us at info@texasauthors.institute. The third annual short story contest begins March 1st and runs through July 31st. Enter your short story for a chance at prizes and getting published. To learn more about this annual event, please visit our website at txshorts.com. Dear Texas would like to invite you to the McKinney Square Book Festival on June 3rd, 2017. The event will be held at the Performing Arts Center from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Meet 40-plus Texas authors, many of whom have won awards. Special events will take place during the day, and a special musical guest, Billy Dawson, will perform at 2 p.m. For more information, please visit our website, mckinney.deartexas.info. Wimberley Valley Tourism welcomes people to explore the many fine shops, restaurants, and wineries that make Wimberley special. More at wvtla.com. From concept to casting, recording to post-production, Spoke Media is dedicated to creating a superlative listener experience. www.spokemedia.io. EBG 247, where you can find ebooks galore 24 hours, 7 days a week at ebg247.com. Welcome to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your hostess for today's show is Denise Bryson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dear Texas Radio Show. We've been having a wonderful conversation with our author of the day, Kathryn Lane. Kathryn, we're so glad we've been so excited talking to you about all of your books and your stories and your creative mind. What are some of the things that you can offer our our radio listeners, and what are your views about social media as a marketing tool?
Well, let me start with the social media. I think it's indispensable these days. And what a wonderful way to get the word out there, particularly for new authors. I think the biggest challenge is just getting the word out to enough people and to create a big enough fan base to make the social media work for you. And that's been a learning process for us, and believe me, it's been very worthwhile because we're beginning to see a lot of book sales coming from contacts that find out about me through social media. Now let me go back and answer the first part of your question, which was about what can I tell people, particularly new writers that are listening in tonight. I think we finished off the last segment where I said you can take a little kernel of truth from real life, and with imagination, you can take that kernel of truth and create all sorts of characters and create plots. And in fact, to quote Henry James, he said, plot is characters under stress. Now, we all know that this world we live in, people have a lot of stress. So it's a matter of taking the right kernel of truth, the right interesting person that would be turn into a very exciting novel or short story by simply taking one character trait from a person and then expanding that out and creating a totally fictional character. That's the way a lot of authors work.
Wow.
And then I can't say enough about imagination, because imagination is where the unconscious mind bubbles up to the conscious mind and just gives us incredible ideas. Now, what I always tell people is just suspend your judgment. When you're using your imagination, let it just fly away on wings. If you say the sky's the limit, you're limiting yourself. So you need to just let your imagination roam and then come back, because for the writing process, you will need to select characters, you will need to select situations, venues, locations, a time frame. You will need to select all of that, which will start falling out. So you will be picking the ones that seem like the most feasible, the most interesting, the most exciting, perhaps the most adventuresome, depending on what you're writing. Of course, we're talking about fiction here. And then you start writing. That's the step that's the hardest for people. People can have the most incredible imaginations and talent, but they never write it down. And by writing it down, I mean, writing on the computer. They don't write it down, and so it never gets anywhere. And so much talent is lost because people are fearful. So overcoming that fear and starting to write, and we all need encouragement when we start to write, because at first, of course, unless we're absolute geniuses, we need a little help along the way. We talked about that early in the program tonight. So overcoming that fear to start writing is very, very important. And then, of course, discipline. The discipline to stay with the project and get it written and get all those characters down on paper and get that plot down on paper and get that story down on paper. It can be a computer page, but it's, a metaphor for a computer page.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Denise.
Well, what I was going to do was ask a question with something that you said, because sometimes when I got a book or so myself, I do poetry, but I do have some other books that I want to write. And so sometimes I get the chapters, the title and the chapters, and then I want to build from that place. Now, what is your discipline for writing? That's one of the things I wanted to ask you. Your discipline for writing as far as on a daily basis, because sometimes that's something people don't know. How much time do I devote to it, or what can I do? Or they get hung up on all these things, and like you said, then they end up not doing anything. But so what is your discipline for that? I heard you say earlier, I think, that you get up and you write every day. Do you write in the mornings? Do you write in the evenings, or when do you, what do you do?
I write whenever I can, but I always write every morning. If I have a busy day with, if I'm making presentations or doing other things that have to be done, then I get up even a little bit earlier. I'm usually up by 6, but if I'm going to go somewhere or I have a presentation to give, I'll get up at 5 o'clock and start writing so that I know I have at least a couple of hours of writing before I have to go out and give those presentations or go to a book fair or do things to promote the book. And then also, I think you heard me mention before the interview started that there is so much for an author to do these days that it's very important to have a plan And to stick to that plan, you adjust it as you need to, but you need to do the social media. You need to go out there to book fairs. You need to do book readings. You need to give presentations. And it is very helpful to keep a calendar. It is for all of those engagements, even for social media. Keep a calendar when you need to post things. And, of course, as you know, you can post something but not release it until 2 days down the road. You have to do all that planning ahead of time. When it comes to the actual writing process, it's just getting up and doing it and saying, okay, this is what I want to do, so I better get up and not get my beauty sleep. I'm going to get up and I'm going to write. And that discipline is very hard, but it's so important, Denise.
It's so necessary. So people have to understand, book writing is really a business. It's a business. I mean, you're producing a product that is coming from your creativity, and you want to sell the product. You got to market the product. So it's really a business, and so you have to treat it as such. So, and with that, it comes discipline. Now, where Kathryn, will you be? Can people look forward to? We got a couple of minutes left. I want to mention that where will you be next? So if they want to get a signed copy of your book, that they can do so. And then also I want to just make sure that people know that, we're having a contest. I think we're still having a contest, and they can win a copy of one of your books. And so we need people to call in and make sure that you call in, and you can be able to maybe win a copy of her book. And so where will you be next so they can do a book signing? And then we'll be ready to sign off here in a minute. And we just want you to give one more time, tell people where they can buy your books. Of course, we know they can buy them on TexasAuthors.com. And so just give us that information, and then we're going to be wrapping up our show. And we've enjoyed you so, and I got a lot out of this, Kathryn. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared with us. It has been awesome.
Well, thank you. Well, Bayou City Festival, which is the 3rd of April through the 8th of April, I will be available in Montgomery County. On the 3rd of April, I will be giving a presentation at Lone Star College in the Woodlands, and then I will be in Kingwood on the 8th all day at the festival there. People can buy my book, as you said, off of TexasAuthors.com. They can get it off of Amazon.com. They can get it from Pennell Publishing. It's Pennell.com, Pen-L.com. And I'm also on Amazon Mexico, because Waking Up in Medellin has been translated into Spanish and was just launched 2 weeks ago. But that's for Spanish speakers only. But, of course, there are a lot of Spanish speakers that buy off of Amazon.com in the U.S. Also, you can check out things on Kathryn, that's Kathryn, Lane, Lane.com. That's my website. And you can read all about my books there, and also the places that you can purchase the book.
Thank you so much, Kathryn. It has been such a joy to interview you today, and I'm so thankful that I got the opportunity. I got so much out of this interview, and I'm hoping all of our listeners as well got a lot out of it. And please go back and listen to it again. If you missed something, it was good. She gave a lot of good information. Thank you so much for listening to Dear Texas Radio, and thank you so much. And remember, we encourage all Texans to stop and drop everything and read. And we'll see you here on next week at Dear Texas Radio.
Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors. I'm Alex Anthony, your announcer. For all inquiries regarding voiceover, narration, and announcing services as heard on this program, please make contact through voxluxstudio@gmail.com, voxluxstudio@gmail, or you can call 512-537-6077. Thank you for listening and for your support. Thank you for listening to Dear Texas Radio. To learn more about Dear Texas and its literacy programs, please visit their website at deartexas.info. I'm Alex Anthony, your announcer. Have a great day.